is shining, shining, nice and bright, bright. The birds are chirping, chirping,
and I'm ready to fly.
Time to get ready, ready
for another day.
Hey, no one can stop us. Oh, we gon' learn to play. Oh, every day we learn and play.
We do our best, so we'll be great.
Oh, 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 oh. You do your best, best,
and I don't mind.
So let's get ready, ready, ready.
'Cause it's about that time.
Good morning, morning to you. Good morning, how do you do? Good morning, time to be great. Good morning, time to wake. Good morning,
Your dance and play.
Good morning,
so start to stay.
Good morning, open your eyes. Good morning,
reach for the sky.
Good morning, 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 morning to you. Good morning, 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 how do you do? Good morning, 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 morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, 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 how do you do?
Good morning.
Good morning. It is Rolling Out AM. I am Munson Steed, your host, and we've got the crew, Rolling Out AM crew, starting with the first lady of Rolling Out AM Wake Up Call, Cass in the city.
Good
Hey,
morning.
Cass.
What's
How
up,
are
y'all?
you? Romeo
I'm
International. What's going on?
Morning, world.
Good morning, world. And of course, A.R. Shaw.
What it do? What it do? What it do? What it do?
The intellectual bruiser who truly the knockout punch for all those racial injustices, that Black historian who clearly makes it live today. It is our own Terry sipping coffee. Yes. Right. Smile, Terry. Show your teeth. We got you. What's going on, you guys? It is a beautiful morning. We are over 2 million, Terry. Over 2 million. It's going up. It's going up. Put your mask on or you be going down. It's going up. It's going up.
Oh,
Put
man.
your mask on or you going down. You're not going to say anything this morning, Terry? You're not going to sing with me this morning, Terry?
Oh, man.
I think Terry is frozen.
I think he's frozen.
He was frozen.
King James.
King James in the morning is it's
What's
going
that?
up. I tell you, the 2 million mark. And they're talking about having a rally. And told, I mean, like, who's going to get in the room when it's going up? Like, you know, sounds like some kind of extermination chambers or something he's trying to invite people to. I have no clue what is going on.
I can honestly say 45 amazes me every day. I have never been so entertained in life by one person every day with something new. I will give him that one.
Oh no, it's always like a dirty buffet or a dirty fork. I think it's more like a dirty fork for me. I mean, I never want one. I never like it. It's not for me. You got the wrong person. You know, I don't know that it's anything entertaining. It's atrocious. Like, what happened? Who didn't wash you? You know, like that. No.
Oh man!
Come on, Cass. Give it up. Chat it up with us, Cass. So, you know, we love to smile.
Good morning, y'all. We got to shout out Shirley Carter on Facebook, Tasha Monroe checking in. Thank you guys for tuning in this morning with us.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Shirley. I tell you, yeah. Philly's showing up. Everybody is all over the world talking about this protest. And if we haven't noticed, Mexico is on fire. They are highly running the world charts for corona infections, and they're inviting tourists out.
The look on your face.
Yes, what is that? What kind of, you really have to worry about this whole entrapment that's happening for those who don't want to believe. And I know it's summertime and everybody just wants to do what you did last summer. But based on the fact that there are 40 million unemployed, you should really know that there is something that has gone wrong. And whoever is steering this car or this country right now, it clearly has a problem with truth. So do not be smitten by your affection for timing. Stay scientific at this moment and understand there is a pandemic. Terry, at any moment, you're allowed to participate in this morning's conversation. We miss you so much.
What's happening? What's going on, man?
No, we're trying to get this morning show started. Cassidy gave a shout out to Shirley. Generally, you say hello to Shirley too. Hello, Shirley. We appreciate you being here. What is really going on with this convincing the community? I still see people with no mask. What is going on? I mean, I'm afraid for our community. These deaths are real. We're over what?
We're up to 2 million. We're up to 2 million cases, and we're about 113,000. One of the medical connoisseurs told CNN that he believes, he's from Harvard, and he believes that he predicts that 100,000 more people will be impacted by the top of September. So we're looking at another wave that's coming much earlier than originally anticipated before the marches and before the Memorial Day gatherings around the country.
Just say, Shaw, you over there? That ain't no paint you got on, is it?
No paint. It's no paint. It's no paint. But yeah, it's what's the thing is this, man. We've like since the Memorial Day holiday, we've seen a rise of cases that's across the nation. Several states have reported an increase. I know in Florida they had 4,000 new cases over a weekend. So we definitely want to make sure that people still understand that this thing is real. We see people now that it's almost like they want to kind of have this thing where it's like they want to not think about it and hopefully it disappears, but no, it's still here. So we have to kind of continue to push to our community that they have to stay protected at all times when it comes to this virus.
Well, actually, it's been reported that 19 states have experienced an increase, with 12 states having 10% rise this past week. So it's been about 2 weeks since Memorial Day. This past Monday was 2 weeks. So that's about the time that you can decide, to give the virus enough time to fester and germinate within your system. And now now people are seeing, what's going on. So 12 states, more than 10% rise. 19 states have seen an increase, and other states are pretty much steady. So that's not a good sign for what's about to come, because we're still demonstrating, and we have to take into account the people within the last 2 weeks.
Uprise today.
I mean, I don't know if that's anything to sing about, though.
But tell them, King James.
I was talking about people in the streets. I'm full support for them. I'm definitely. It's going up as a song for the coronavirus, just so that you know. With the hands, it's going up.
And then on top of that, King James, A.R. Shaw, people about to go. I don't think they care anymore. People about to open their business back up. The club is back up.
Oh yeah,
people going in the store is back up. And I don't see no mask. When I would say out of 10, I would see 4 people with a mask on. 4 out of 10. And I'm one on the 4. So Terry.
Yeah, the nightclubs are going up. I've seen a lot of promotions. So that we have to really take precautions. Like, I don't understand, like, who wants to go to a nightclub or a hookah lounge at this time? To me, it just doesn't seem logical. It doesn't seem wise to put yourself in danger.
Well, the problem that I'm seeing is that we don't believe in anything that we can't see. We don't seem to be able to conceive of something happening that we can't see. See, when somebody has the flu, You can give me the flu, and within a few hours or maybe the next day, you'll see my face change and you'll see my body language change. You'll see my voice, you'll hear my voice change. There's a visible evidence that I have the flu. But with the coronavirus, it's mostly asymptomatic, so you won't see something for days or even weeks. So they can't see it, so they're not reacting to what they can't see. And that's the problem. That's one of the problems.
Greed. Very much so.
And then a lot of people are afflicted with this fatalism because of the fact that I've talked to several neighbors who said, well, I mean, I'm just going to live my life. You live your life. You know what I'm saying? If I get it, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Most likely I'll get over it. And then there's another section of people who don't believe that it's real.
Well, I tell you, a lot of these corporations are figuring out it's real, because I think it's going to be corporation cancel day as it relates to discrimination. Obviously, there are individuals who have signed up. So, Terry, we're going to talk about that a little bit, AR. Just talk about the protest, because we want our community to continue to stay strong, stay in the movement.
Yeah, that's the thing. How do we, we have to kind of figure out a way to, before we go to our next guest, to still push this narrative, to still push what we want while also staying safe. So we have to kind of figure this whole thing out, because we don't want this push to die. We don't want this movement to die.
No, it doesn't need to die in the streets, and I think it's not. I think we're really pushing the awareness, this microaggression that's even happened in newsrooms where individuals were just being racist. The issues weren't of interest. We have clearly ad agencies, problem, not advertising, not empowering, not having executives. There's a letter that all of them, and we'll share that letter and get that person on to Rolling Out AM just to talk about.
But wait, they gave 1.6 billion, Munson.
Out of $1 trillion? Come on, Terry. We're gonna do the math for them, T. Like kibbles and bits. When they start giving you kibbles and bits, just remember that's cat food, y'all. Like don't accept kibbles and bits. That's cat food. Like you don't want to eat cat food. Don't settle for cat food. You're not a cat. No kibbles and bits.
That's what's up. I agree.
Amir Shaw.
No, you hit it. It's like, you got to understand, there's companies and corporations who are still benefiting from slavery today. They're still benefiting from the backs of Black folks. So we deserve something more than what they're giving up.
No, brother, we are receipt shareholders. We walk in their stores. We buy their products. We use their utilities. No, it's deeper.
Yeah, but
we have to have their insurance. We have to have their insurance.
But
we have to have their insurance. These are all things. It ain't the back, bro. That's reparations. I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about
this.
Even in Silicon Valley, we should not be settling for that measly 5% employment of our community in Silicon Valley. We need a whole situation. Come on, man.
Yeah, but
see, the thing all is technical jobs.
Yeah,
and don't say we're worried about the pipeline. When we on Instagram and you selling advertising and Facebook to these others, we need you to show reciprocity.
Well, that took a long time to get that word out. But what I'm saying is
because you didn't give it to me, Terry.
Yeah, but the thing is
you didn't give us any. You didn't send our vocabulary words today.
No. What I'm saying is, it's kind of hard to enforce these demands when you have somebody like Tiny Harris's best friend, Shakina Jones, crying that we're breaking into Gucci stores. When you have her crying and wailing that Gucci, why are you busted in? And that Gucci ain't do nothing to y'all. These are the people that are disrespecting us and exploiting us.
You have to understand, there is always an educational moment in the movement. And
that's not an educational moment. That's foolishness.
But you can move past that, and we should invite her here because she's probably grown since that moment. Like we don't want to assume she's in the same place. That was about 2 weeks ago. There are a lot of people that didn't get the looter lens. Like all of a sudden their gaze was like it was their stuff. Like that wasn't your stuff. And we don't want to think that that's it, but that's a movement and oppression and a mindset that somebody put in us. It's desperation. It's confusion. Who's adding to the confusion? It shouldn't have taken NASCAR this year to figure out that we didn't want Confederate flags at your races. Come on, man. Boom. Get out of here with that. And we're glad that they did it. But I mean, darn, how about the pain of us watching it and you celebrating with people that have got flags that they hate us?
Definitely.
NASCAR?
Yeah, but at the same time, is it wise for us at this time to start cutting the heads off of statues that have been around for centuries?
Why not? What
No,
you
that's
missing? You gonna miss the statue? I'm not. You gonna miss the statue? Who gonna miss the statue?
That's the thing is
You don't need no reminders.
Yeah,
You don't need no reminders.
One person at a time, y'all. Everyone get their point across. One person at a time.
So my thing is this: when you go to Germany, you don't see any Nazi symbols. Like you don't see symbols of the oppressor. So why should Black people still be subjected to symbols of oppression? Why should we still see a Confederate flag? Why should we still have the statue?
Hello.
Yeah, but
James, I'm on your side. Go to your point. No, I'm on your side because I think I know.
All right, we in our special guest time, and we don't want to leave her. We need a little peace right now.
We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back.
You're right. Hey, let's bring on Rolling Out AM. Thanks, team. It took y'all a long time to get going. I'm telling you, this morning. You want to introduce our guest, Kat? Hey,
Carrie.
What?
I'm cracking up at everybody.
Somebody's stunting today.
Carrie, help us out this morning, Carrie. Help us out.
Thanks for trying to keep the peace. I hear you, like everybody.
We need it. We need some zen this morning.
No, bring some of that positive energy from the D, from the D.
Oh my gosh. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning.
That's good.
Everybody needs to come back and get ready.
Say again?
No, I would say everybody need to come back since we all fired up this morning. Let's go.
But we fired up for a movement. We fired up for a movement.
That's good though. You know what happens when we get fired up? We start to stimulate our vagus nerve or vagus nerve, however you want to say it. And basically that nerve kicks off to our body that we're going into fight or flight, which starts to heighten our blood pressure. So even in moments of passionate discussion, when we're fired up for the movement, we got to remember to breathe deeply so we could not stimulate that nerve and get our blood pressure up. So it's nothing wrong with being fired up, but in the midst of it, even if someone's saying points that are
woosah.
Yeah, you got to woosah.
We love it. That's why we need you on here, Carrie.
Yes, so let's do a little bit of that today. Speaking of this nerve, it's like when you get stressed out, or even when you're just living your best life, right? If you're taking short breaths, really shallow breaths, you still kick this nerve off, and it sends your body into fight or flight, which lessens the blood flow in your body from just going how it's supposed to. Instead, that blood is all rushing to your heart and trying to do whatever needs to be done for you to feel calm, but you're taking blood away from vital organs when you tap into that fight or flight. So it's really good to take deep breaths so you're feeling normal, your heart rate is down, and it starts with taking these diaphragmatic breaths. Does everybody know where your diaphragm is?
Yeah, we've seen that roadmap, but you know.
Right under here.
Right? Yes. So but lots of people have no idea, right? But it's really like right underneath your rib cage, under your thoracic spine, above your digestive organs. So you want your breath to be there when you breathe, rather than being in your chest. And a lot of times, especially when we're stressed or we're making our point and we're fired up, we're breathing in our chest. So let's take that breath down today to our diaphragm and practice some diaphragmatic breathing. So everyone, we'll go ahead and do our favorite thing that King James likes to do. Can anyone guess? Make sure those cheeks are planted.
Yeah.
Press your feet down into the floor. You ready, Romeo?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Ready.
Put both of your hands right on your diaphragm. And then close your eyes. And maybe your breath is still in your chest. You're still breathing quickly, the heart is beating quickly, the breath is moving quickly. That's okay. See if you could take that breathing deeply. So on your next inhale, breathe into your belly. Start to inflate it like a balloon. Breathe in. And as you exhale slowly, feel your belly soften and gently contract. Take a deep breath in, feel your belly, inflate that balloon. Breathe in and breathe out as you feel your belly contract. Take a deep breath in until you can visualize, see, and feel both lungs being full with your breath. And then slowly start to exhale, squeeze that stale air out of your belly. Let's do one more together. Breathe in, belly goes big with breath. And as you exhale, contract your navel back to your spine, squeezing the breath out. And then let's slowly open our eyes. How are you feeling, guys, with those deep breaths?
My belly and hand movements was kind of, I don't know if they were at the same time. It took a minute to get my belly hand diaphragm going, but it was fun.
Good to know.
Yeah, I thought I was having an outie when I was trying to have an innie and an outie and an innie at the same time. So I didn't know what was going on. But anyhow, I was trying to control. You said right around belly button, diaphragm. I didn't know if my stomach needed to go out and in at the same time, but whatever.
So basically, when you inhale in diaphragmatic breathing, your belly goes big. You want to fill it up like a balloon. And when you exhale, you want to feel some of the air releasing from that balloon and it getting smaller. So when you breathe in, the belly expands, and you breathe out, it contracts. And in our day-to-day life, a lot of us don't breathe like that. But you watch an animal, if you have a cat or a dog or a baby, and they're breathing naturally like they're supposed to. So many things in our life happen, so we're not breathing properly. So for example, we go to school, we're sitting all day. It changes our posture. Posture alone changes how we breathe. Also, like you said, you don't know if you want to suck it in or innie or outie. People are now thinking about their belly, you know? So we're known to suck it in, right? You want to do the exact opposite of this in diaphragmatic breathing. You want to stick it out. You want to fill it up. You want your belly to expand with your breath, which is counter to Western cultures of beauty or standards of beauty. But you want to not think about any outies, belly being big or not when you're doing this breath. You want to take that focus inwards and just visualize and let your body move with the breath.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's hard with these abs. I'm trying. I got
Oh,
you.
goodness, please.
It's good to tone the belly. Literally, it tones your internal organs and the abs. So deep breathing, good for your belly, that area inside and out. Good point, Romeo.
So this is like sitting crunches. That's what you're trying to tell me, Carrie? This is like doing sit-ups in my chair.
Little life hack. Yes. Does keep the low belly toned.
Yes.
Yeah, so I highly recommend it. And you guys know most of the stuff that I'm sharing with you guys, I get from a lot of yoga texts that most yoga teachers read during their training. And that text is Science of Breath. I have a million notes in here just because it's so many different types of breathing, and they're all really good for our health. And they're all, Cassie, good for that toning externally and internally. So love the breathing exercises, and I highly recommend this one, Science of Breath.
Yay, that's great. You gave us some reading, some stuff we need to pick up, we need to order. That's exciting. Thank you, Carrie, for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. I'm always happy to be here. And I have some special guests for you next week because recently I went through some things on Instagram. Can you believe there's yoga drama?
Oh, goodness.
So I have some guests on here to talk about that with me and how I had to take many deep breaths this week after a brand tokenized me. So we will talk more about that on Tuesday. I'm really looking forward to getting back with this special guest that helped me resolve this brand issue.
Yes,
Oh, well, we're looking
yes,
forward to
yes.
that.
We probably want to go get a video up about that. We don't want to wait, but no brand safe. And we're not going to have any tokens, and we're not going to step or fetch it. So
Very
understand.
Can't
We're
wait
not
to
for it.
share with you guys.
All right. Well, we appreciate you. Any positive thoughts you want us to leave here thinking about?
I wish I could remember it verbatim, this quote from Nina Simone, because it makes me think about my social media situation. But it's something along the lines of, you'll give up everything you have trying to give people what they want, or something like that. Like, you can never make everybody happy, but you'll give up everything you have trying to do so. So try to make yourself happy. And, you know, that's all I can say. I maybe butchered that quote, but that's the sentiment, right? Like, try to make yourself happy, because you can't please everybody.
Just make sure that your team understands what's going on social, and we don't want to wait if somebody is saying something inappropriate. So, you know, text Cass and Romeo so that they can understand, and we can deal with that now, because we don't want to wait.
I have a call with that brand today, and like I said, my guest on Tuesday is kind of helping me think of, will help me kind of navigate this.
Just remember, with any meeting with the brand, you don't have to meet alone. As much as they like to have just you on the phone, you can have me, you can have others, because many times brands will have 5 people on the phone. It'll just be you, and you think it's a call about you, but they have 5 or 6 other people on the phone, and they're recording the conversation. So you need to act appropriately. So you shouldn't be by yourself. You definitely want to make sure the conversation is clear, because there should be no reason why they don't inform you who's going to be on the call in advance of being on the call. And you shouldn't be alone, because you are way smarter than that. And we're not trying to have secret conversations, brands.
Right. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that feedback. You know, I'm not really like a social media Instagram yogi yet, because I think it's important to.
No, you are. You're a growing micro giant, and never deny your impact. I mean, just remember, it was a small stone from David that slayed Goliath. It wasn't. I mean, it's
inspiration.
So yeah, you know, don't reduce yourself. This ain't a moment to say how big or small you are. That is not what we're doing in this movement right now. We don't have no bigs, no littles. We are all. It is a we. It is a movement.
I'm just talking about social media, but I appreciate it, because I have not dealt with brands. That was my point. Like,
I was saying, even in social media, you big too. You big there. They can't tell you your numbers are big or small. That's not for you. We're not owning anything. It's already planned. There's an algorithm that decides who's big versus little, who gets more likes than others. There are others that offer other things up. It ain't equal. It ain't even fair. You know, so it ain't even fair. So you're big. And always be big.
Training I'm getting this morning. Thank you.
All right. We appreciate you. Peace and love.
Thank you, Carrie.
Have a good day. I'm going to go post something on my social right now.
We'll look out for it.
Let's go.
Have a good day.
AM, the wake up call. Peace to everybody.
Yeah.
The struggle is real and continues.
Before you go, Munson, I'm about to go to Facebook. Cass and AR, I do not know what's going on today, but this man got so many shout outs about his hat. Barbara Fields, Miss Steve, Janice Simmons.
What's up, everybody?
Good morning.
Everybody's saying, "Oh, Mr. Munson, I'm loving the hat." What is going on? What is going on
today? Because we have not made it to the barber shop. That day, and it's summer hat time, so I'm breaking them all out. We can look forward to it.
The whole timeline is his hat. I don't know what's going on with the ladies today, but just let y'all know, Miss Steed is on here. Shout out to Siobhan LaCour. Shout out to
we're taking all compliments. We're taking all compliments. It's a loving community inside. We told Cass she had a phenomenal dress. She liked her little black dress.
And she glowing right now. And she glowing. She got her ankle.
No. What did Rodney Perry say?
she got her.
Rodney Perry said the cascading light. You know, cascading light. You know,
Well, you know,
light on cast.
it's just God coming in, you know, shining his light on me. That's
The
all.
Holy Spirit and that angelic spirit coming through. Yes, this morning. Keep the faith. Keep the faith.
Okay, Cass. I'm about to see this again.
Keep the faith.
Shout out to Eric Williams is checking in. Shout out to Eric Williams.
Eric Williams from the D. Detroit is in the house. What up, though? What up, though? What up, though?
And we thank y'all for checking in on Rolling Out AM. And you
Rolling
can catch
Out
all of this
AM.
at rollingout.com. Yep. Man, so we're still waiting for our guests to kick in. We got a super producer, 18 years old, 19 years old, all the way from Florida, but he's in Atlanta traveling. And he's one of the young producers that's tearing up the scene with some of the hottest artists. He's gonna be checking with us.
I'm trying to figure out what songs he got, Romeo. I mean, it's like I'm really trying to understand. It is Black Music Month. Fight the power. Big ups to Chuck D and all of what he does. He has a new album out. Go check it out and stream it. Big ups to Angie Stone. Her song Brother really brought us together. Obviously, Mirrors and all those individuals out there who have made music during this moment for movement. What's going on? I'll tell you what's.
Yeah, shout out. Get you a Black Power playlist going, man. You need just some Public Enemy in there, some early Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted. Definitely some Goody Mob Soul Food in there, some Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly. It's so many Black protest songs, so many Black songs that speaks to what's happening right now. So definitely get you a Black Power playlist.
No, keep you a Black Power playlist. Like, check yourself on why you didn't have a Black Power playlist. Like, we need it. We got the power. We got the power.
Man, so this is gonna be a great day, especially when he tunes in. So
he's there.
He's here.
Good morning, Trey.
Trey, you gotta turn the volume, your mute off.
Take your mute off.
Is he frozen? You gotta start your camera.
He's unmuted. Good morning.
Can you guys hear me?
Can you hear us? Trey, can you hear us? Are you in? Is the camera going? Is the Wi-Fi?
Man, we're waiting while we're waiting on him. Romeo, we can kind of talk about some of the things he's done. Trey, we may need you to reconnect.
Yeah, so he's going. He might need to reconnect.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we can hear you better now.
Wi-Fi's on.
Okay.
Okay, I'll try that.
We can hear you better now, so that's good.
You got this, super producer. You got this.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
All right. That's good.
Good morning.
All right, we got everything. Good morning.
Oh man. So, ladies and gentlemen, Rolling Out AM, man. This is Trey Gillum, all the way from South Petersburg, Florida. Super producer, young cat tearing up the scene. I'm gonna let him introduce himself before I tell y'all his accolades. So introduce yourself to the morning show, man. Well, I think we do got a lag. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me? Good morning, everybody. My name is Trey Gillum. I'm 19 years old from St. Petersburg, Florida, and I'm a producer coming up.
So what we're gonna do, man? We're gonna ask you to disconnect, and we're gonna try to reconnect.
Bring you back in.
Yeah, but we're gonna ask our producer to contact him and see if he can reconnect. But yeah, Trey is definitely one of the hottest cats, guys. He's produced for Kevin Gates, Rod Wave, NBA YoungBoy, Lil Durk, and YFN Lucci. He's actually has five songs on Billboard right now. 5 on the top 200 in Billboard right now. At the age of 18. So he's 19. So he's really changing the perspective of the game in the young market. And we definitely wanted to highlight him on the Rolling Out AM show.
And Black Music Month.
So we definitely wanted to do that. Hopefully he can check back in with us soon. But until then, let's go back to what we was talking about. Where's King James at?
Got Amir Shaw right there, and Trey looks like he's coming in right quick. So let's give him a chance to make it, but it is. So everybody should keep their Black Power playlist. Don't delete your playlist. Play your playlist. Share
so
your
much. If you had like one favorite like protest song, like what would it be? Like what's your all-time favorite protest song?
I don't know that I think I had artists that really spoke to me. Like right now I'm checking out some Curtis Mayfield.
Oh yeah. Sure.
You know, so for me, I'm kind of checking him out right now. I always love Sly and the Family Stones. One child grows up to be somebody who just loves to learn, and another child grows up to be mama loves the both of them. Anyhow, but you know.
You should have been a singer, man.
I am a singer. You know, Cassidy, I'm a producer,
a full-blown performer.
So
every day.
Hey Trey,
Trey,
you got a favorite? Oh, is he back?
Trey, you back?
Did it just bring me back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we should be good.
Sounds good.
All right.
So introduce yourself again, man.
My name is Trey Gillum. I'm 19 years old from St. Petersburg, Florida, and I'm a next up-and-coming super producer.
Yes.
What do you mean the next, man? You already on the board. You there?
Well, I feel like I'm always up and coming. I mean,
gotcha. So what made
there's
you
a lot more work to be done.
when I was hearing about you, what made you decide between actually taking a D1 scholarship for basketball and pursuing your passion in music?
What actually happened was before my senior year started, I actually had a pretty bad injury, so it caused me to have a setback and be at the house a lot. So it wasn't that I chose to veer away from the D1 basketball scholarship. It was kind of pushed. I was pushed into that direction after the injury. So that's what happened. It caused me to get more into the producing once I got my injury.
Do you remember your first production hit?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it depends on what you look at as a hit. For me, it was somebody from our local area, from St. Pete. That was a big deal for me. He was a rapper named Project Youngin, and he got actually a feature on one of my beats from somebody who was pretty much higher up in the industry named Quando Rondo. So that was pretty much my first big song. So that meant a lot to me.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I wanna talk about that, man, because it's like a lot of times when you're an athlete, you kind of have to be focused on your craft, especially as a teenager, because you wanna kind of you know put in enough time in the gym to make sure that you're ready for that next level. So for you, like I know you had to spend a lot of time on the court. How long did it take you to actually learn the art of producing?
Well, I've always been dibbling and dabbling inside of producing ever since I was like around 12 years old. So I would say, just like anything else, it took me 10,000 hours to really get into it. So just having that setback with that injury, I didn't have anything but time to be in front of the computer. So that's when I really fell in love with it. But I've always been into, I was walking. So
definitely.
Man, I just want to talk to you about Rod Wave. He's one of my favorites right now in the game, and you just got a gold plaque, for working with him. How do you feel? I mean, this is an incredible accomplishment for you as a young guy. And these are some of the hottest artists in the game right now that you've been working with. So shout out to you. But how are you
Thank you.
feeling right now?
I mean, it's still surreal. I mean, I'm thankful. I'm blessed for it, and I mean, it's still something that I'm still trying to process. But it's a great feeling knowing that I came up with somebody from my hometown, and we were both able to get a gold plaque together. It's a special feeling. So it's the first of
That's
many, but this
amazing.
one really means a lot to me.
Definitely.
What producers influenced you? What older cats influenced you?
I would
Yeah,
have to say Zaytoven with the keys. I would have to say Timbaland with the bounce. A guy by the name of Shakespeare from Atlanta.
Oh,
Yeah, he pretty
yeah.
much influenced me. So if I had to choose three, those would be my top three.
I think that's all Atlanta except for one. I mean, the ATL sound.
But I don't know. I added my own sauce to it, so I don't want to say it's the ATL sound, but they definitely were the ones I look to.
Oh man.
That's what's
with
up.
the, with the climate of what's going on today, and I know AR can touch on this more, but as a young guy who's producing music, with the climate of what's going on today with the young millennials protesting and people marching, are you inspired musically by what's going on?
Oh yeah, it's hard not to be inspired musically by what's going on. I mean, music I feel is a language, a universal language, so it can be used to bring people together, especially in times like we're going through now. So I think that music inspires them as well as just as much as it inspires me to create it and want to create some vibrations that bring people together and uplift people in times like this. So.
Definitely. So who's like your dream collaboration, man? Like who is the artist that you want to create a beat for? Like who's that one person?
That one person, I have to say Meek Mill. Meek Mill is somebody I've always wanted to collab with. Oh, it's just that I feel like Meek Mill is looked at as like a young OG in the game. I've always respected his point of view on a lot of things, and I feel like he's a voice for our generation. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he has something, a story that he's shared through his music, and I feel like that's just somebody that I would want to work with because I feel like I can connect with him and we can create something that's very powerful if I had a chance to.
Hey man, you got to get Cass in the city on the track. Cass, I'm telling you right now.
Oh my God.
She
I got you. She can get on there. I got you. Whatever. And get some plaques. We gotta run some plaques up.
Look, let me figure it out. I gotta figure out what my skill set is. I might have to get in the studio and learn some things.
Yeah, we can book a session immediately.
I appreciate it. What is next for you? Like, what can we expect from you? I know you're working on a lot of things during this time. What's next?
What's next is you should be expecting to hear my tag a lot more throughout the industry. I'm trying to get in all different categories so it won't just be in the rap scene. So I'm looking to show my versatility and create some more vibrations that will motivate people and bring people together. That's just what I like. That's what I like to do. Create music.
I do have a question before you get out of here, man. As the young guy on the scene,
all right.
Have you faced any prejudices,
racism,
or yeah? I don't want to say it like that, but have you faced that in your growth?
Actually, I have faced that in my growth. Actually, being around some of the producers, they don't look down upon you, but it's kind of like they don't really give you the same energy that it would give somebody their age. But I think a lot of that has to do with fear of being like, maybe he's next to like bump me out of my spot, you know. But I feel like what's meant for somebody is meant for somebody. So as I started to come up and they saw that, then they kind of wanted to open the door for me a little bit more. But at the beginning, it was a little bit of that. I feel like trying to hold me like out of it as long as they could. Like, but I feel like was meant for somebody, it's meant for somebody. So eventually it got better. So that was the little stuff I faced.
Well, I appreciate you checking in, man. I know you. Shout out to Black. I know you just got in last night, early this morning, man. So I know you just waking up. But you know, me,
Oh yeah,
Amir,
for sure.
you know, the Rolling Out AM, man. We really appreciate you checking in this morning, man. And I'm definitely gonna keep up with you. And we're definitely gonna get Cassidy on that track, right? AR, we're gonna get.
Yeah, I'm waiting on her.
Oh my goodness!
See,
But
I'm waiting on her.
please let everybody know where they can follow you and keep up with everything that you're doing.
You can follow me on Instagram at Trey Gillum, TREGILLIAM, and on Twitter at Trey Gillum 3. And keep up with the updates and look out for the new music that is dropping soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate you guys.
All right,
100%.
All right, man. Be safe.
I got you. All right.
Rolling Out AM, that was Trey Gillum, 19-year-old super producer. Has 5 hits on Billboard right now, top 200, man.
He's definitely doing it, and he's making hits out here. So shout out to him.
You can't deny the 5. That's the crazy part, Cass City. A lot of people have been discrediting him, but it's like you're 19 with 5 on the top 200. That's crazy. So you're right.
Yeah.
What up, fellas? King James?
Yeah, what's happening, man?
So where we at? We are we doing a report, cast report, or how? Where we?
Asking, bro. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. We got the power, Cassidy. Cassidy.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, we can go to my report. I'm ready. Let's get into it. So we obviously know George Floyd, his memorials have been going on over this time, and Tiffany Haddish was actually present. I know she was present at the one in Minneapolis, but she kind of spoke out recently about her experiences with police brutality. And she said that as a young teenager, she actually watched one of her friends be killed by the police. And she said this, you know, was a part of her going and supporting George Floyd's family and, you know, paying honor to his life. She said that she was able to mourn all of those people that she, you know, that she lost in her childhood in the service as well. You know, she said, and being there was really like being there for all of my friends whose funerals I already went to, all of my friends who passed away, all of the people that I went to school with who have passed away, have been locked up for no reason, just because they can't afford a good lawyer or, you know, accused of things that they didn't do. So Tiffany Haddish said that she really could connect with George Floyd and his family because she's experienced loss of her friends by police brutality and those kind of things. So I thought this, you know, we saw her there. She actually was on stage with Reverend Al Sharpton and I believe Eric Garner's mother during that moment of silence when they took the 8 minutes and 46 seconds. The silent moment. So she was in tears and you could see it was really impacting her. So this is, you know, a big thing for Tiffany Haddish to speak out and kind of share her experiences. Because I think more people than have experienced things like this. So, you know, for someone in her position to explain was, you know, really a great way to connect with people who are going through things like this. Because a lot of people didn't know this about her. Up next, we have, so you guys may not know this, but Sephora, huge in the beauty world, makeup, beauty haven, has joined this 15% challenge. They joined this challenge that was brought to them by Black designer Aurora James. And basically it's, you know, she charged all these major corporations to dedicate 15% of what they're doing to, you know, Black businesses and companies. So they've dedicated 15% of their store shelf space now to Black beauty brands. And they put out this kind of statement for their plans to understand their, you know, the issues that are going on, to work to kind of champion and help out young Black companies and entrepreneurs. So this is something they're doing. It's a pledge they've decided to take. They already, you know, have certain Black companies like Pat McGrath Labs, Shani Darden, Briogeo, Goldie, Ottawa Beauty and K&C Beauty in their stores, but they're now dedicating 15% of their store space and shelf space to Black businesses. And 15%, me and Portia were speaking, is not a huge amount. But I've been seeing a lot of, the comments, and a lot of Black beauty brands are excited about this. A lot of people are saying 15% is not enough. So they're kind of mixed reviews in this sense. But Sephora is saying this is their beginning, their start to the commitment. Romeo, you look like you have something to add.
I'll wait till you finish. I do got something to add.
Okay, so we'll just go into this next one really quickly, and then we'll come back to that comment, Romeo. So Marlo Hampton, she's always on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. She was charged, she charged her fellow Black women who are on Bravo TV, Married to Medicine, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives of Potomac, to join in and do this Black Lives Matter kind of PSA. So they took part in this. She was sitting there, saying her message with her 2 young nephews, obviously 2 young Black boys, and all of her fellow Black stars from Bravo TV, took a part, they participated in the challenge and saying Black Lives Matter, our lives matter. And we have that video that we can show you.
Until we receive justice, how can there be peace? When police brutality and racial injustices continue to plague Black America.
Black is love, Black is strength, Black is joy.
Black is courage, Black is struggle, Black is perseverance.
We can no longer be silent. We must educate ourselves and others around us. We have to get uncomfortable now in order to get comfortable for lifetimes to come. My name is Marlo Hampton, and my life matters.
Hi, I'm Dr. Heavenly Kimes, and my life matters.
I am Eva Marcel, and my life matters.
My name is Portia Williams, and my life matters.
My name is Monique Samuels, and my life matters.
My name is Candace Dillard Bassett, and my life matters.
My name is Wendy Osefo, and my life matters.
My name is Karen Hubert. My life matters.
My name is Giselle, and my life matters.
Hey, I'm Dr. Jacqueline Walters.
And I'm Curtis Berry.
My life matters.
My life matters.
Our lives matter.
My name is Candy Burris. My life matters. Our lives matter.
My name is Robin Dixon, and my life matters. Our lives matter.
I'm Ashley Darby.
A quick kind of segment. They went on to highlight all the people from The Real Housewives of Potomac, Married to Medicine, and The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And in the end, they just all kind of said in unison, Black Lives Matter. And Marlo Hampton went on to encourage people to not only, speak out, but also to contribute to organizations like the NAACP and others in this moment, and, speak up and take action. So I thought this was kind of a cool thing that she led, and, pulling all these Black women together. A lot of them showed their families and their young Black kids and their sons. So I thought this was a cool kind of moment for them.
Got you. That was actually dope. I did have a question about the Sephora. Is that what it's called? So I know you're not too familiar with basketball terms, but every time somebody from the opposite team hits a beautiful shot, somebody says, that was all right. And so I'm wondering, but I'm wondering with some of these companies, is this a genuine step forward, or are they just throwing out it's all right so they don't catch the heat? Because I've seen a lot of companies, hey, we're doing this for the Black movement and blah blah blah, and like you said, it's a 15%, it's a little tap here, but right. it seems like it's a protective type of shield they're trying to put over themselves so they don't catch the social heat.
Well, like those brands that I mentioned were already being sold in Sephora. So it's not that they don't have any Black brands at all. So this was just a charge by a Black designer to see who would join in and participate in this 15%. So what Sephora is saying is that this is the beginning. There was a challenge to give this 15%, and they're saying that this is not the end of what they're planning on doing, but just the beginning. So we'll see.
Okay. And shout out to everybody on Facebook. Natasha Crawford says agreed. Barbara Field says amen. Janet Simmons, keep the faith. She's waiting on her keep the faith. Dennis Byron says fight the power. And Melinda Johnson is checking in. Shout out to Melinda, we miss you and everything. But
shout out to Dennis Byron for always giving us love.
Yeah. So going into the social report real quick, I'm gonna make this super quick. First up, I don't even care where you go. Wherever you go, I'm gonna go with you. First up, Chance the Rapper has spoken out. He says they want peaceful protests, but ain't too worried about peaceful policing. They'll lecture you about fighting violence with violence, but that's literally their ideal of good policing. And he has made a very valid point. People say, hey, you should not do violence against somebody else, but I'm gonna come and beat you so that you can know that you should not do violence. And I want to get y'all thoughts on that. Moving on next. I'm sad. I don't know about y'all, but I'm super sad. Coachella and Lollapalooza have been canceled. Organizers have decided if Coachella will return April 2021 at a limited capacity or as normal in October 2021. Now, I don't know who's all been to Coachella, but Coachella, when I say it's packed, it's beyond super packed. So limiting Coachella is like limiting NBA Finals game, King James, and I don't know how I feel about that, but if it keeps people safe, I understand. And last but not least, the Grammys will no longer use the term urban to describe the award category. The category started in 2021 will be called Best Progressive R&B Album. I don't know how I feel about that, but that's what the Grammys have decided to do after all of this time. So shout out to them for the change as well. And that is your Rolling Out AM social report that you can catch on rollingout.com. What do you guys think? Any questions, any issues on any of that?
Well, I love Chance the Rapper. He always speaks up and says what he needs to say, and he always contributes to the community. So shout out to him. He also spoke out about defunding the police, which is something we haven't really gotten to talk about, fully, and I hope we do eventually. But it's a thread that's been going along, around the internet saying that defunding the police, that's what people are saying, but we've been defunding education for years and years and years. So he spoke up about this, and we know that he's contributed to Chicago schools and everything out there with his funds. So I support what he does when he speaks out. I think this is great. He's a young guy, he always uses his platform.
All right, Amir, let's go to your report.
Yeah, AR.
All right. I want to start off with the NASCAR ban. Of course, NASCAR have decided after their 72-year history that they've decided to ban all Confederate flags. I'm not sure if anyone on this call has ever been to a NASCAR race. I have, in certain. So they do NASCAR down in Hampton, Georgia. But in some races, some fans they fly the Confederate flag. They have Confederate paraphernalia. But Bubba Wallace, who is actually the NASCAR's only black driver at this moment, he spoke out against the flag last week during the race, and he wore an "I Can't Breathe" T-shirt with Black Lives Matter to honor George Floyd and all of the individuals who have died because of police violence. And I want to just talk about that for a second before I move on to the next slide. I want to talk about as far as the Confederate symbols, and basically just my whole thing with the Confederate thing is that, of course, we talked about Germany earlier. If you go to Germany, you don't see statues of Adolf Hitler. So why should Black people in America still see statues of Robert E. Lee and individuals who wanted to keep us enslaved? But we can talk about that later. I want to go to my next topic, whatever you have. Okay, so we're going to go to the police. So the police officers, they have. We're gonna watch this speech.
Shame us. The legislators. The press.
Oh my God.
Everybody's trying to shame us into being embarrassed. Oh my fucking God. Well, you know what? This isn't stained. It's still got a shine on it. Stop treating us like animals and thugs. Start treating us with some respect. It's disgusting. Trying to make us embarrassed of our profession. Don't resist! Don't resist! Don't resist! Don't resist, bro! I'm not! And that's all I have to say.
Just ridiculous.
So yeah, they basically had a press conference in New York, and this was a police captain in New York, and he wanted to kind of speak out against, I guess, what he's saying as far as police, the mistreatment of the police. I don't understand where it comes from, but so my thing is this: he's making this a us against them mentality as far as trying to divide the people versus the police, which is there's already division, and I think this is a moment for officers who are paid by citizens to actually listen to the request of citizens. Like, you should really listen to the people who are paying your salary. So we want to kind of go back and kind of discuss this more. Before we go to our guests, do you guys have any thoughts on that last video?
The receipts are there, literally, and this is an edit, because in the press conference, obviously these videos weren't in there, but someone put together these videos of police, being violent and brutalizing people to make, kind of fun of the fact that he's sitting here saying that what they're doing is not wrong. And obviously they're literally beating people. And that last one, the guy is saying, don't resist. The boy is literally not resisting arrest and he's getting beaten. Like, it's undeniable at this point. Like,
it's the most entertaining thing ever. And to your point earlier about NASCAR, I have been to a NASCAR, I think, and I know you have too. The weirdest thing I ever saw at NASCAR, what people don't know is, so a lot of people come in their trailer. What is it? I mean, trailer homes, or the car.
Wait, yeah, the RVs. They drive the RVs up there. Yeah.
Man, if you ever seen the RVs all parked together, all you see is Confederate flags. Like, it's literally that group of people. So I don't know, man. That was funny though. I gotta give you that one.
Do you have any thoughts on any one of those last segments?
And
I mean, I wanted to comment on Kaz's segment in which corporations are given basically pennies. I think that there's a lot of corporations and personalities and politicians who don't want to get hit by the shrapnel of criticism. They don't want to get canceled. And so they're actually engaging in ridiculous behavior. Like that thing, I thought it was atrocious for those politicians to sit down there in kente cloth and kneel on the ground. I mean, they're going way overboard with this. And the corporations who have never cared and never given back to, all of a sudden you care about us. All of a sudden you recognize our humanity. All of a sudden you want to exalt us into a higher plateau of status in the world when you ignored us and you didn't ignore us, but you exploited us. And then now you want to recognize us. So, and then back to your point, Amir, about NASCAR. Wait a minute. It took you 72 years. Now, I'm slow learning. I sat in the back of the class. But damn, it didn't take me 40, 50 years to learn a single subject. You knew that the flag, the Confederate flag, was offensive to Black people. You knew, but you didn't care. And all of a sudden, in June of 2020, instead of 1940 or 1930, you knew in 2020, you found out, oh my God, this is offensive. Let me take it down. Y'all, man, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. I might look like Daffy Duck. My head might be shaped like Daffy Duck, but I'm not Daffy Duck. I'm not a cartoon character. You can't fool me. Why don't you do something significant, like investments into the community? The flag means nothing in comparison to actual investments in the community. Get that right, corporations. Get that right, NASCAR. Get that right, NFL. Get it right.
Definitely. Well said. Well said.
King James, tell them, because we sports people, they falling for the pump fake. They falling for the pump fake. That's all these companies doing.
And they're falling for the pump fake from somebody who's slow, like Larry Bird's pump fake. It's slow. So you're falling for the okie doke, and it's not even fast. It's not even swift. It's not even clever. It's just, and y'all jump. Man, come on, man. Come on.
Attention.
I mean, I look like Elmer Fudd. My head is shaped like Elmer Fudd, but I'm not him. This ain't duck hunting season. Get it right.
Yeah, and a couple of years ago, NASCAR was doing an outreach where they were like trying to, they wanted to expose, I guess, have more. They had like a whole diversity thing where they were inviting Black media out, and they would let us attend the races. I'm not sure, were you a part of that, Terry? Did you get a chance to attend? Because I know they had a strong outreach a few years back.
Yeah. No. I mean, I've been to a race before, a NASCAR race before, but not in Atlanta. But yeah, I've seen it, and I've seen the flags, and you know what I'm saying. I know what that's all about. So that's what I'm talking about. They did have some outreach, but I mean, in terms of keeping that flag, all of a sudden you want to take it down now. Why now? What's different about that flag? Does it stink now? What does it give off an odor now? What is prompting you to all of a sudden understand that the flag was offensive for the past 72 years? It was not offensive. I mean, I'm a slow learner, but damn, I'm not that slow.
Yes, it is.
It's definitely propaganda. Before I wrap up my report, I want to definitely give a shout out to Jazz Fly. She's a blogger. She died at the age of 39. I know everyone in the editorial, the journalism field, Black journalistic field, she is one of the most powerful voices in our industry. She started back in 2000, mid 2000s. She was writing for Vibe. She did some stuff for Revolt. She's written for TV shows such as Gossip Girls. She's done some stuff with Barbershop 1, Barbershop 2. She wrote for Save the Last Dance. And so we just want to definitely give a shout out to Jazz Fly, rest in power. Her real name is Jazz Waters, but she went by Jazz Fly. She's a phenomenal writer, blogger, definitely going to be missed. So rest in power, Jazz Fly.
Yeah, rest in power. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we now want to go, I'm sorry.
No. I mean, it's just that, it's just very disheartening to see somebody achieve their dreams and then get cut down in the middle. I mean, I know how it felt when in my mid-20s, I discovered journalism, and it was like a euphoric, blissful feeling that I haven't had before or since. And the journey to accomplish and pursue my dream and actually live it, it's intoxicating. So to be cut down in the middle of that when she accomplished her dream, it's disheartening. It's really a setback. I feel her pain, and I send out blessings of love to her family, to her memory, and to her family.
Yeah. All right, Terry. So we want to go ahead and go into your report right now.
Okay. Well, I need some sedatives because I need to come down from the ceiling.
Breathe.
Okay. Yeah.
Breathe.
Yeah. Carrie. I'm breathing. Carrie. I'm breathing
from the middle, from the diaphragm.
Right. Smooth side.
From the diaphragm.
Oh yeah, from the diaphragm. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
From the diaphragm, brother. Diaphragm.
Okay, I'm good. So, Portia, if you could cue that up for me, please. You've been very patient with me this morning. I am just dumbfounded with gratitude at your patience with me this morning, Portia.
This is rolling out the 8 a.m. wake-up call with all of us, Romeo International, Cast in the City, and the first King James A.R. Shaw. So we're excited about you guys tuning in. Hello to everybody on Facebook. Hello to everybody on Twitter. And hello to all those protesters who are out there making a way, but it's really an uprising. It isn't a protest, and we are not to be fooled. When corporations start to spin, they're spin doctors. And it's really beyond, even when you talk about Sephora, just that. Are they advertising with Black people? That's a question. Do they have Black attorneys working? That's a question. Do they have Black accountants? That's a question. Do they have African American technology people? That's a question. And will they sign a 20-year contract for all those people that they haven't advertised or utilized? We can't be fooled by some of these shenanigans that they get people from our community to settle for kibbles and bits. We're not cats, everybody. Stop settling for kibbles and bits or explanations on or great gestures that are insulting when you consider it. 72 years? What's the payment for the injustice, the indignity, the offensive behavior? You know, and it shouldn't be to an individual only. We should be erecting, we should be asking for growth in institutions, for the endowment. Sephora, endow Fisk. Sephora, endow Spelman. Sephora, make a difference. Make some Sephora scholars. For every brand out there, we need scholars. Have bigger dreams, community. Don't have shallow dreams. Don't smile for the camera. Get the contract with our community.
Facts. That pump fake gets you every time.
Yes, wonderful message, and I definitely substantiate. Basically, you know, just support what you're talking about, because we need sincerity and authenticity, and we definitely need investments into our communities to help them move forward if they are being real. But
no, they need to call Rodney Strong. They need to look at the City of Atlanta's compliance program. They need to really have that, so there's every level of a corporation. Discrimination ain't just who you see. It ain't just the product on there. If they haven't had an African-American Black Media Day, that's a problem. If you haven't invited cast in the city to be at Sephora and meet with the executives, if you don't have 20% of the executives in the company that are actually African-American, like, we want the invitation, Pepsi. And we need the community to be educated on what? This is our movement. It is a business movement. Your knee is on all the necks: health, economics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facts.
Yes. Speaking of keeping it real, Portia, if you could go ahead and cue that up. Thank you very much. Vanessa Bryant is back in the news, and bless her heart, she basically shared with her fans nationwide some tattoos that she got of her late legendary husband, Kobe Bryant, and her 13-year-old daughter, Gianna Gigi Bryant. And basically she had one, not of their faces, but of messages that lined down the side of her neck. And then she got a message, that's one of Kobe. And then she got one on her right wrist of Gianna Gigi Bryant on her right wrist. And so you can go online to on her Instagram page and check out those very cute messages. You won't be able to see them specifically, but you'll be able to see her in the process of getting those tattoos of Kobe and Gianna on her. So blessings to Gianna. Shout out to T.O. I wasn't a very big fan of T.O. during his playing days because he was extremely narcissistic and supercilious. You want to see somebody who's haughty, arrogant, it was T.O. But now he's coming with the real. He's coming raw, because now he is supporting a march, basically a march and kneeling protest in honor of Colin Kaepernick. He's trying to get Colin's job back. So basically today at 12 p.m. Pacific time, and that's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, T.O. will lead a march, and then will kneel in support and to pay homage to Colin Kaepernick, and send a message to the NFL that Colin Kaepernick needs to get his job back, because he's only 31 years old and deserves to be in the NFL, and he is better than most of the backups in the NFL. So he should be drawing a check from the NFL, since the NFL stole his check by banning him illegally from the NFL. So check out the march, check out T.O. Nene Leakes is busy. She's been quiet for a while, but she's busy right now. As you know, Bravo fired the Vanderpump Rules cast, two white cast members, for some kind of racist prank that they pulled on one of their African American co-workers or co-stars. And so Nene Leakes came back and said, there's more. And we could talk about it publicly or we could talk about it privately. That sounds like a threat. That sounds like Nene Leakes is ready to bring the noise. So we'll have to see what Nene Leakes, who she's going to expose and what scenarios that she's going to expose and the names. Is she going to drop receipts? She's going to drop names? The fans can't wait. So that is my report from the first King James from Akron, Ohio, who took his talents to Atlanta instead of South Beach. And anybody have any comments about any of these segments that I talked about this morning?
Hey, man,
Well, we'll save our comments for later because we have a guest right now. And will you go ahead and introduce them to us, Mr. A.R. Shaw? Well, A.R. Shaw, then. Welcome to the show, Mr. Barry Givens.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you guys hear me well?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
we hear you.
Yes, we hear you perfectly.
Yes.
What was that?
You got that good microphone. We hear you.
All right, cool.
Well,
Okay,
first of all,
that ain't no good microphone. That ain't no good microphone. That's just his bass baritone. That's what it is.
I did buy a new microphone though, so
well, we're super excited to have you on, Barry. You can go ahead and just introduce yourself, but you're a tech enthusiast, tech entrepreneur. So please share with everyone who you are and what you do.
Yes. So first off, thanks for having me this morning. Definitely excited to be here. And for everybody watching, my name is Barry Givens. Not an Atlanta native. I know Atlanta natives kick me all the time. I've been here since I was 8 though. So this is all I know. So grew up in Stone Mountain, went to Georgia Tech for college, got an engineering degree from Georgia Tech, and pretty much spent all of my corporate life in entrepreneurship. I only spent about 8 months in corporate. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And in college, I started my first company, a company called Slushy Kicks, with my roommates, where we just customized white Air Force Ones. Ended up selling them to Big Boy and T.I. and Jagged Edge and LeBron. That was my first bite of the entrepreneurship apple. From there, went on to start a company called Monsieur. So I invented an automated bartending machine, so similar to like the Coke Freestyle, except it makes alcoholic beverages. And so ran that business for about 5-6 years, grew it to about $1 million in revenue, to about 16 employees, and exited that business in 2017. But during that journey, really ran into what all of us run into in whatever industry you are as a Black person, is just that inability to get the same acceptance and the same opportunities as many people that don't look like us. And so during that journey, myself, my friend Jewel, who has a company called Part Pick, my friend Justin, who started a company called Goody Nation, and several other tech startups, along with like Ryan at The Gathering Spot, Candace, Shamaya, Vanna, we all started meeting and just having founders therapy, basically. And we decided that once we got to a certain level, that the next generation of Black entrepreneurs, they would not go through the same stuff we went through, and that we would be the generation that would pave the way for them to have access to the relationships that we worked so hard to get. Then the last piece of that was capital. And so no matter how much we mentor and advise these newer Black startups, they were still running into the same capital gap. And so myself, Jewel, and Justin, we decided to start our own venture fund. So we launched Collab Capital, where I'm a managing partner. And we are currently in the middle of fundraising a $50 million fund just specifically for African-American innovative entrepreneurs. And so that's what I'm doing now. I'm also, I'm very busy. I'm also the managing director for one of the top startup accelerators in the world here in Atlanta, called Techstars. I'm the managing director for the Social Impact Program.
Man, Barry, you are really doing it. You're working so hard, and this is so appreciated, for you're taking that kind of leap for the next generation of Black entrepreneurs. So I commend you on that. And I can't wait to talk to you about everything else that you're doing. But I know Romeo is very excited because he's a fellow Georgia Tech grad. So I know he's like bursting at the seams to say something.
Hey! I've been waiting for this moment all my life, man. a former Georgia Tech grad, man. Hey, man. Hey, man. First of all, we went to a great institution. Let's start with that. Because I got to deal with this I got to deal with this Howard girl all day, man. I'm just
Hey, look, it was like 100 of us there, man. We had our little HBCU within Georgia Tech, man.
Right. Oh, I know what you thought. Okay, so check this out. But let me speak on that. Because I was over in Inter, right? Over the Barnes and Noble, over there in that building.
Yep.
So a lot of young Black men and women coming out of high school aren't technologically aware of their resources. Why do you think that is? Because I noticed that my freshman year as coming in.
It's just not in our households, right? I mean, even it's 2020 and we still have a disparity of computers in Black households, right? And so when you think about the stories of the really well-known success stories, most of these people started developing and coding when they were, when they were 8-9 years old, right? Because they had computers in their home, even when computers weren't readily available. The Bill Gates and like these people, they had computers in their homes. And even some of the successful Black people I interviewed Omar Wassai, who started Black Planet. He had a computer when he was young, right? You listen to Paul Judge, he had a computer when he was young, when it wasn't really accessible. And so there's definitely this access to the technology that's a problem. And then as a community, we don't make it sexy, right? Like we have to do a better job of highlighting and showcasing the people that are really making a living off of this technology, right? Like, I mean, you think of the reasons that we do things, especially as young men, right? Like a lot of times we're making decisions when we're, middle school, high school, based on how much money we're gonna make, right? That's how cool it is, right? And sometimes that's why the streets call. Sometimes that's why athletics call. And what we never do is show these kids that it's people making plenty of money by sitting behind a keyboard, right? I mean, it's you coming out of college making $150, $200 a year. And if we express to these young men and these young women that you can get your mom out of that house and move her into a better place by going down this path of using technology, I think we will have more people going into it, but we have to start at a younger age. Because the second thing you run into is if you bring it up too old, they feel like they can't do it and that they haven't built up the foundational skills that they should have been building up in school at, 4th, 5th grade. And then you put a computer in front of them that's very math heavy in 11th grade, and they get discouraged because it is very difficult to jump in if you don't have those foundational skills. And so, I mean, it's a lot of levels to that question that I think as a Black community, we have to pay attention to and tackle.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yes.
Sorry, Romeo. Didn't mean to cut you off.
I was going to say before King James, but I was going to say you're correct, especially the disconnect between, because I remember becoming computer knowledge like maybe my junior year in high school. But I remember my first Georgia Tech work group, and I'm sitting in that group, and everybody else is just like da 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 da, and I'm like, did I miss something? So, no, you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, I don't even know what you're supposed to do. But, go King James.
Yeah, I wanted to first of all, Mr. Givens, I think that you need to go ahead and get a life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you need something to occupy your time. But before I ask my question, I wanted to give shout out to Randy Fling, who's the COO of Rolling Out, who also graduated from Georgia Tech. you know, so yeah. So go ahead and give Mr. Randy Fling some
Yes,
love,
sir.
Because I don't like any of you smart people because you know, it's just. I mean, you know, I'm meat. You know, from an intellectual standpoint, I'm meat and potatoes. And so, you know, I'm a Buckeye, so I understand. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to LeBron James, whose shoe you got to. But I wanted to find out. But I wanted to find out exactly, like, what is the next frontier? Because what is on the landscape? What is on the horizon in terms of the next move that our young kids, who are always on social media and do have the IT potential, and should be going to the Georgia Tech, which is one of the nation's most prestigious schools. A lot of people don't know that. They talk about Harvard and that school sitting across Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Right. And they forget and they sleep on the Georgia Tech. So Georgia Tech right up there with MIT. But what I wanted to know is what is on the horizon for our kids who are always on this to help them leverage their love of social media and IT so that they can begin to make some money in this space instead of basically being a consumer, because we're always the consumers. We need to be the frontiers in this space.
Yeah, I think first and foremost is that it's not just IT. I mean, it's not just computer development, right? I mean, that's one side of it, and we definitely need to increase our numbers there. But I think just as a first step is understanding that as Black people, we are super creative, right? And there's so many opportunities out there for creatives, whether it's on the design front, whether it's just in creating content, but doing it in a manner that's actually economically beneficial for them, and not just doing things for free. So I mean, there are a lot of opportunities for them to use.
Well, hold on.
Yeah. But hold on, Terry. Hey,
what's up, man? What's going on?
Like, I'm really pissed off at all of y'all. I just want y'all to understand this. We need to be demanding right now that your fund is funded. Like, we need to make this a real movement. Like, it shouldn't take it. We should be understanding that Sephora should be making and giving us these funds. Like, let's stop talking about this. If all of our companies are funded, we don't have to beg for jobs. We actually will think of our children. So let's make sure, Barry, you tell Justin he owes me a call. And I'm sorry to you guys. I think you guys gotta go social. Our social during this uprising should be for people like you. We should be on Goldman Sachs right now, and we should be standing with our mayor, with SunTrust, saying, look, fund this now. And it shouldn't be 50 million. It should be 500 million. Like, why are we begging? Why are we begging? Like, Mark Zuckerberg, hear our cry. And we need to be posting to Mark on Instagram about growing your fund, Barry. I mean, that's key. You're an example. We want trustworthy entrepreneurs. We want all our social influencers to set economic priorities. And you guys are one of them, Barry. Let's be sure that's what we're doing. This is a moment.
I appreciate that 100%, man. This is something that we are that we're getting better at. Like, we're more of the under the hood, do the work, like pop back up and just help people. And
right now, bro.
It's not that moment. I 100% agree.
It's not that moment. It ain't nice to say, hey, we're gonna be at the gathering spot. No, fund all the gathering spots.
Yeah, 100%.
All our HBCUs. Fund 2,000 Black scholarships at Tech and have the dual degree program at Morehouse. Fund it. I mean, we've got to have KPIs. My challenge to everybody that's like you, Barry, is what are our Black economic tech KPIs for funding? Let's put them out there. Let's not let them give us kibbles and bits. Remind all your friends. We do not want kibbles and bits. We are not cats. We are not freaking cats. Do not give us kibbles and bits. Add a zero to that fund and pick the people in Atlanta, because we're really quiet about the corporation. NCR is here. Mercedes is here. All these companies are here. Fund your fund. And we need to have every influencer talking about real funds instead of talking about these beautiful pictures.
Hey, you hitting the nail on the head, man.
Let's get this movement and make some demands. I didn't hear any demand. I want to hear some demands. Economic demands.
You're hitting the nail on the head, man. This is something that initially when we started Collab, it was all Black everything. We were like, we're going to have Black entrepreneurs that we're going to be putting money into, and we want all of our limited partners to be Black because we want that economic progress to also be on the investor side to go in to basically rotate through Black pockets as well. But to your point, we quickly realized that no, it is a duty to some of these corporations that have been living off of Black culture and promoting Black culture, but not doing it internally. I mean, we already know that they've had struggles there throughout all corporations of promoting and paying Black people what they're owed. And so for us now, we have opened that up, Munz. I appreciate you bringing that up because our goal is to get $10 to $15 million out of, and I know that's not the numbers you're talking about, but just in our plan to get $10 to $15 million out of the corporations here in Atlanta because we are a predominantly Black city, one of the few in the country. But I'll also say, I'll give that same message to our community as well. Like, where are our funds going and where are our dollars going? Because I would like for half of the fund to be Black limited partners that have the money to invest. And one thing that, and I think this is a great platform to have this discussion, is that many Black people did not make their money. Most Black people did not make their money in technology. They made their money in real estate. They made their money in finance. They made their money in construction or athletics or entertainment. And our world is so different. And so educating and getting those people that have the wealthy Black people that have the money but made it in different industries, getting them to be a part, because this is the fastest growing, this is the place to grow your money the fastest in the world right now. This is where most of the new billionaires are coming from. And right now, we're not playing on the investor side like we should be. We're not playing on the entrepreneur side like we should be. And I want to make sure that the people that are reaping the benefits on all fronts look like us, because it's a great opportunity for us to build wealth in our community. And it's just something, it's an education thing. And so I think this type of platform is a great platform to speak to those individuals to say, hey, give us a call. Let us educate you on how this part of money works.
I'm all for the community, but right now we're in an uprising, and our oppressors in even this city need to have an agenda on how to fund the dreams of entrepreneurs like you. And when we have a mayor that is on national television, we need to begin and sit down with our mayor and begin to make those demands that are economic. This is that moment. You guys are responsible. It's not like y'all are irresponsible. Y'all responsible. Y'all got a vision for this city, and we need to make sure that we have a vision that is economic, that is inclusive of all the Black community. Not some of us.
In developing a plan, a game plan. And that was my question, is developing a game plan where you collaborate with other people in your industry who look like you in order to develop some type of strategic, viable, doable plan in which we can make this come to fruition, the things that we just talked about in terms of demanding and retrieving some of the things that we should already have, but that we need to get now.
Yeah, there are a lot of us working on that front, right? There are a lot of us that we're on phone calls, we're on Zoom calls. I mean, before all this happened, we were meeting in person, trying to figure out how do we approach this and how do we, to Munson's point, make these demands. And I'll say I'm one of the ones that's probably a little. I got tired of all the stuff you're saying, Munson, like going in and saying, hey, we're making these demands and we're doing this. Honestly, I hit a point where I was tired, and not tired in a bad way. I was tired of us as a community having to depend on waiting for those people to say yes, right? And so I went more in the direction of how do we build a self-sustaining economic engine that we're in control of. And part of the reason is that a lot of the issues that we have in our community, from health to job creation, a lot of these things start with the economic foundation. And the reason that we continuously ask them to solve it for us is because they control the economics. And so we have to, and what we're working on is putting together a plan of, and this fund is part of that on the technology side, but there's a deeper side to it in business. You know, how do we get the top 40 coffee shops across the country to come together and be under one brand so that they can take advantage of collective buying, you know, so they can go to one coffee resource and get that discount. So they can go to one place.
But it's deeper, brother, because we already
I agree.
We already see the model. We ain't got to have no brand. What you talking about is every Starbucks in our community can be a franchise. See, at the end of the day, when we're not allowed to get in the game, the McDonald's, Black McDonald's owners have been successful for generations because we had ownership in something. We want to own some of those things. We don't want it because that way we getting coffee for the price Starbucks is getting. Starbucks, once again, can we have some franchises? I mean, I get it. Everybody was tired, but this ain't the moment to be tired right now. This is the moment for us to make social videos that literally have economic KPIs. We're not going to get to them KPIs, but I'm going to invite you back because we got a news channel now when we are all going to make sure that you all and all of us make social economic demands in video. If our influencers in our community love us, then they'll post our demands. When they get to decide how much we get, we know it's back to kibbles and bits.
Yep.
We must identify. This is our moment. I'm so proud of you guys. We want to be creative. I understand we want the wealth of our community. But right now, as receipt shareholders, it wouldn't take but one or two companies to fund or at least help match your vision so that you guys can move forward. And you got all the Black people on Instagram. Come on, man.
You preaching to the choir, boss.
Where's the social video talking to Mark Zuckerberg and everybody saying, look, we figured it out. We need $1 billion and we need you to help us. And here are the money managers. Here are the fund directors that are going to move us forward. If you love us, if you respect us, if you want to get your foot off the neck, we don't need any 100 millions. We need billions, because you're making billions.
But you said the right question though. That's if. That's if you love us. If you that's the question, right? That's the
in a math problem. That's the proof.
That's the proof. Yeah.
We gonna know the proof.
No, the answer is axiomatic. I mean, they've shown what they love and who they love from their actions.
You gotta stop, Barry. Good to see you. I just couldn't let you go without saying a shout out, but I definitely want to get back with you and make a social economic. We've got a video and actually create some KPIs. We need some key performance indicators as a community. It's not going to make any sense if we can't keep score, and we have to really begin to keep public score on the money going out of our community and the money being invested in our community. So that's a problem solved that all y'all big thinkers over there need to put together with some KPIs. How do we put it on the board? How do we really get these individuals to understand, what it is and the trauma of being economically oppressed? That is a invisible foot. Just like they talk about that invisible hand in economics, they got an invisible foot and knee on our economics in our community. So much love and respect to you, Barry. You're doing a phenomenal job. But
thank you.
Together, we need to talk more often and tell Justin it's his turn to reach out to me. And of course, to our sister over there, tell her we love her. She's doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you so much.
Her and what she's doing. So continue to lead in the struggle. Remember the quote, you don't have to be in the streets, but you do have to be in the struggle.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. The words were definitely heard.
Thank you. Peace.
Peace.
Take care, Barry. Thank you.
Georgia Tech all day.
That was a wonderful discussion, man. Good insight.
Yeah, that's right. And Randy Fling owes me one. Just let him know.
So yeah, I think we have a next guest who's joining us. Make sure we.
All right, sounds good.
I think he's joining us now, Terrence Woodbury. Is Terrence here?
Yeah, he's coming on now.
Terrence, what's going on, brother? gotta take yourself off mute. Gotta unmute yourself.
Yep, that's important. How you doing?
Hey,
How's it going? What's going on, man?
How you doing?
Come on, Chaz. I've been thinking about you, brother.
How's it going, gentlemen?
Come on, man. You got all that knowledge for us there. It's a movement. I don't know. I gotta get back with you and study because we clearly need some economic KPIs because they've offered 1.6 billion. Based on numbers like that, what kind of investment is that?
I mean, it's unacceptable. We saw just a month ago our government spent almost $3 trillion in a week, you know, and spend it in a way that that our community did not benefit very much. I mean, I'm a small business owner, minority business owner. I applied for every grant, every PPP, every micro grant. I applied for everything, got nothing. I employ 8 people in this company, you know, 8 people who are W-2 employees that pay taxes. I think that $3 trillion was intended to help small businesses prevent from laying some of those people off.
Well, ain't the Los Angeles Lakers a small business?
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, the Lakers seem to have gotten my PPP.
Right. But before you move on, we need you to adequately introduce yourself so that you can let the people who know who you are and what exactly you're bringing to the table.
Absolutely.
The discussion this morning.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Terrence Woodbury. I'm a public opinion researcher, pollster at HIT Strategies. We conduct polling and focus groups and other research around the country, really to understand the opinions and attitudes and perceptions and behavior of young people, of people of color, and of women, the 3 groups that we believe are the ascending electorate, the 3 groups that will determine the outcome of this upcoming election.
Oh, okay. Now that's what's up. That's strong. And why? What makes those 3 demographics so important? And what's going on?
So for a couple of reasons. One, for people of color, it is because America is diversifying rapidly. Contrary to what Donald Trump believes and to what a lot of Donald Trump supporters believe, you can't stop diversification in America. There's no wall big enough. There's not enough travel bans that you can implement that can stop diversification in America. It's happening, and I think that's also a part of our strength, and not a part of our weakness here in this country. Young people have recently become the biggest voting bloc in America. They just in 2018 became a bigger voting bloc than the baby boomers.
Are you serious?
That's right. So young voters, millennials and Gen Z voters are no longer the margins of the electorate. They are the electorate. And that's important because the protests that we see happening right now, there's a big shift that I'm sure we've all seen in the news where this is no longer just a protest of Black people versus the police. This has evolved into a protest of young people versus racism. And that's an important distinction now that young people are the biggest voting bloc in America. Then you start to see the kind of systemic changes that are starting to happen across the country.
Amir, I thought you had a question.
I wanted to discuss what occurred a couple of days ago in Georgia. We saw it was an atrocity. Some individuals waited in lines for 7 to 8 hours. Just get your thoughts on what happened in Georgia as far as the primaries in Georgia, and what can be done to make sure that this doesn't happen again in November.
Yes.
So that's important. What happened in Georgia was unequivocally voter suppression. It was not a mistake. It was not an accident. It was not, a result of there just being longer lines and less precincts. It was a deliberate, intentional voter suppression of a governor and Brian Kemp, who was previously Secretary of State and is very effective at voter suppression. In fact, he may be the most effective voter suppressor in the nation. And he became governor because of how well he was able to suppress.
That's quite a charge.
He may be the most effective voter suppressor in the nation.
Wow.
Brian Kemp, while he was Secretary of State, he was responsible for counting the votes and counting the registration in an election where he was running for governor. So imagine if you get to keep the score in the basketball game that you're playing in. You know, we could pretty much guess what the outcome of the game is.
Yeah. So back to
the score's gonna win.
Yeah, absolutely. So back to Amir's point, A.R. Shaw's point. How do we prevent this? What can we do to expose this and to prevent it from happening again in November? That was just an atrocity. I mean, it was almost a bloodbath and a comedy of errors that happened this past Tuesday. It can't happen again.
That's right. That's right. And so, you know, a couple of things. One, we have to start a conversation with our community about about the importance of voting, but also about the importance of voting options. You know, our communities, younger voters, voters of color, we don't really vote by mail very often. We don't really vote early very often. We like to go on election day. It's a community event. You know, it's something that we do together. It's something we like to remind each other on election day. We like to hold up our sticker and post it on Instagram. And so we and those are all important things, but what's most important is that our votes are counted. And so we're gonna have to use some alternatives here. We're gonna have to vote early. We're gonna have to vote by mail. I think everybody should get a vote by mail ballot, because the one thing they can't change, the lines can't get long with vote by mail. The rain can't stop vote by mail. You know, so just get your ballot, put in the mail early. Make sure it's counted, and then you don't got to worry about your precinct not open.
Is that the reason why? This is my last question. Is that the reason why somebody on Pennsylvania Avenue was so resolute in not having mail-in ballots?
That's exactly right. I mean, the fact of the matter is, vote by mail has been working for over 100 years for our military that's deployed around the country, around the world. If we can count their ballots from Afghanistan, we could definitely count yours from Atlanta.
Hercules.
There was even voter suppression in the vote by mail, because there were individuals that just got, after election day, their voting. So the suppression continues. Like you said, when you're a professional modern day suppressor, we definitely will have to change our behavior. We're asking all of you to change your behavior to early vote.
That's right.
So early vote is critical to what we do. You know, you want to go in, cool, but if not, don't wait for your ballot. Get your ballot. If your ballot didn't come, go vote early.
That's right.
So I think that's important. But I do want to get back to the economics that you were talking about. And if you didn't get PPP, let's talk about that as well, because at 12, I'm meeting with the president of all 20 Black banks, Mr. Kenneth Kelly, and I will make the introduction so that the PPP, it was all if you knew your banker.
That's right.
If you didn't know your banker, that doesn't mean bank by your banker. So the behavior that you're describing is economic malpractice.
That's right.
And that's what I'm calling it. You can help me with this, Brother Woodbury. It's economic malpractice.
I think that's exactly right.
Please elaborate.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. We have to understand that when $3 trillion is spent in 30 days, that is a massive redistribution of wealth. Massive. The kind of redistribution of wealth that could be that could have been applied to, you know, to many of the things that they say that we cannot afford: universal health care, free college education, completely eliminating student loans. I'm not talking about one of those things. I'm talking about all of those things.
Yeah.
We have done all of those things. I'm talking about reparations. I'm talking about all kinds of shit that they say that we can't afford. Well, in 30 days, they found a way to afford all of those things, and in a way that didn't benefit any of our communities. So the wealth got redistributed, and it didn't make it to us. And I mean, we can't lose sight of that. $3 trillion is almost 30% of our debt.
Yeah.
Debt that we've been acquiring for 50 years. We spent it in 30 days.
Well, yeah, I mean, it got redistributed. It got redistributed from the White House to the golf course down in Florida that somebody owns, who also is in the White House. That's how I got redistributed.
That's right.
Well, I think the thing I want to come back to, though, is just economic malpractice. That literally our community has to stop looking at our economics as something they're given versus something that we own. You have the employees, so you're sitting there, you're doing what it takes. And how do you have these economic malpractices? once again, it's part of how you keep us poor. It is important for some people to keep us poor. What can we do as it relates to starting right now to change that methodology economically in our community?
Well, I think we have to start by keeping, and this is what you've been talking about so effectively, Monts, is the KPIs, right? One of those very important KPIs is how long do we keep $1 in our community? If we start keeping our money within our communities, if I were to go and move Hit Strategies bank account from Bank of America to one of these black banks that Monts is about to go meet with, then it starts to change our economic condition. We're the biggest consumer in the country. In fact, African Americans, not just black people in the diaspora, African Americans are the biggest consumers in the world. If we kept that consuming power in our community, then it starts to change the economic condition drastically.
Yeah, and I think that to your point, and this is something that we need to talk about, is are these organizations, Sephora, going to hire your polling company? When they have to do these studies, are they actually doing it? And those are the things I think we even miss when we say, oh, well, I didn't know. They're going to do these studies. Are they literally, who is your pollster?
That's right.
Who is behind all of your statistical work for our behavior?
That's right. And I'll be honest with you. It's a question I've been asking in a lot of these white boardrooms, and I hope I can say this in front of your audience, but I've been using quite a bit of white guilt to ask those questions. I love to ask a white CEO how many vendors of color they have. When is the last time they've done any research with the black researchers? In fact, when you're talking to black consumers, are you using white researchers to talk to them? And so I think we have to use this moment. There is a ground shift happening right now in which white people are starting to feel a guilt and a pressure of systemic racism. They're starting to get some skin in the game and realize that this affects them too, that they can't just turn away and change the channel when they see the shit. And so we have to use that ground shift and use it to make sure that we're not just shifting on criminal justice, but that we're shifting on economic justice as well.
Right.
All right. Just for the last question before we wrap, you talk about economic justice and a shift. Just for young entrepreneurs that's coming up, the biggest advice, because we have a lot of people that's in the street, a lot of youngsters in the street. They maybe want to think about ways to implement change in forms of business. What's your biggest advice to them?
My biggest advice is to find the need. Find something that you find a void or a need in your community, and fill that need. The best business plan is a plan that fills a need, right? And so we know that there are voids in our community, and not just a need as in, is there no laundromat, but is there no black laundromat? Because as we start to shift the psychology of our community, and we start to keep our dollars in our community, we need somewhere for those dollars to land. And so start finding the need where we can fill some of the services and products that we are going out of our community to fill. Find ways to do it within your community. I promise you, we're gonna start finding ways to put our dollars there.
All right, well, it's always great to have you, brother. I will contact you today and put you guys together if you didn't get that PPP, because it's out there.
And I need to put my money
how do we reach you? How do we reach you? How do we reach you?
Yep. So I'm on Twitter at T_Woodbury. That's at T_WOODBURY. Or you can find us at hitstrat.com. My company is Hit Strategies. The website is just hitstrat.com.
Cool.
Thanks for having me.
Always good to see you, man. Look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you so much. Keep fighting a good fight.
Thank you. Peace. All right, it is rolling out AM, the wake-up call. Terry Shropshire, positive thought of the day.
Yeah, I just have two quick quotes, one sentence each. Yesterday I said from automobile pioneer Henry Ford, if you think that you can or cannot, you're right. And to go along with that same line of thought comes a quote from Steve Jobs, who also changed the world to turn the telephone, or I should say the cell phone, into a miniature encyclopedia. So he said, those who are crazy enough to think they could change the world usually do. So basically what these two great men said is that whatever's in your heart, whatever's in your soul shall come to pass. So think positively about what you think you could do in this world. That is my positive word of the day.
Cass in the city.
My positive thought of the day is somewhat similar to Terry's, but you choose.
Whoa. You're not supposed to agree with me.
Terry, why did you interrupt her?
But I was already thinking this while you guys were having that conversation. But you just have to choose how you're going to feel about your day. So if you choose to think negatively, your day will be negative. If you choose to think positively, your day will be positive. So it's all about your mind and your mindfulness and where you place your thoughts. So, you choose wisely.
Good word. Romeo.
Hey, man, in the great words of Allen Iverson, practice. Are we talking about practice? Let me tell you something. If you don't know this game by now, you better stay in practice. But practice, what's up, AR?
I'm gonna have to quote my man. We were talking about Black Power songs and Black Power playlists. I gotta quote my man Chuck D. Fight the power. So I want everybody to fight oppression. Continue to, we gotta push to make sure that we destroy all Confederate flags, all Confederate monuments, any signs of oppression. We want destroyed. So continue to fight
Columbus,
the power.
Even Christopher Columbus.
Oh, he should be the first to go. We taking him off today. Let's hit it, Musson.
Thanks, you guys. Definitely the struggle continues. Definitely continue to stay safe. I appreciate all that you brought today. Obviously, I think we have success that is in our race, as it has been said. We have been oppressed. We are definitely owed a debt. And we don't have any question about why. This is the moment. Make sure you maximize your moment. Make sure you illustrate the point. And make sure, as Terry Shropshire would say, study. Study to understand the perspective. Change your lens, because many in our community have blurred lenses where they're afraid to really stand up with the community. But you can change your lens and not be afraid at this moment to just be a part of the struggle. Post positively. Post and change our community with positive thoughts of your day, and practice, as Romeo has said, being a part of a collective agenda to benefit the future generations of our community. Practice that thought. We're all here from Rolling Out, AM, the wake up call. We'll give you a shout out, let you out early, and we'll see you. For those who are doubting, we're not giving any hall passes. You will not run in the halls of history thinking that you're safe. Peace.
Don't go to rollingout.com right now. Catch up with all your stories. Catch up with all what's happening right now at Rolling Out.
Peace.
Before we go, we want to plug your show, Musson. You have a show at noon, so let's definitely plug your show at noon. Let everybody know.
Mr. Kelly. We got Kenneth Kelly, CEO of First Independence, coming at noon. Thanks, Amir. This is our lunch and learn for all of you, the Black Business Crisis, and it will be on at noon. Thanks so much to everybody. Thanks, Amir. We're out of here.
Yeah.